Hi guys, I'm gonna do a quick response to the 0% chance of failure question. So, the answer is, what brings the chance of failure to 0%? The answer is caring for each other. Now, when you are aware of a person who is not this way, doesn't care for other people, only themselves, unfortunately that person has to be removed from the equation. But nonetheless, that is the answer because I feel like well, this is the big question, are the majority of humans on this planet empathetic? I would like to believe that they are. If not, it's okay, because it's just the ones who are empathetic just need to group together. So the answer, 0%, so that's not to say you guys were wrong. There are different levels of failure. There are different definitions of failure. What I'm talking about is dying, the ultimate failure, which is real. You can die. You can fail in this life. Even if you erase your expectations, even if you get rid of all of your high expectations and things like that, you can still die, and that is failure. That is undeniable failure in this realm. If you were to say to me, oh, but there's God in heaven, so dying doesn't matter, I would say to you, I'm just strictly talking about this realm. If you were to say, if you were want to stay in it and not go to heaven yet for some reason, right? So, even if there's a heaven, death still removes you from this realm. So it is a failure, and to bring it to 0% chance, we need everyone to be looking out for each other. So instead of when you lose your job, you get kicked to the streets, you get shunned, you get, accused of being this or that. We need to stop criticizing people's life choices. If you want to be a homeless person, this is the thing. Homeless people might have mental issues and things like that, so I don't think they're a good example of a lazy person. I think a normal lazy person is just on welfare. And so anyway, so a person who doesn't go out and work and stuff, there's a huge there's something a lot of people don't see in other people and where their frustration comes from. So to understand where someone's frustration comes from, just consider there are only so many jobs. And so someone who's less adequate, still adequate, but simply less adequate, may not be able to get a job. This will cause frustration and failure. So, you don't always know where a person's emotions have come from, why they're frustrated in life, why they're unemployed or depressed. And so it's probably from an experience. If you go through a long and hard experience of trying to get a job and be successful and you fail, you will be exhausted and you'll have no motivation to continue your seemingly fruitless efforts. So, those things are all invisible to us. We don't see in another person. You can't see in me what I try to do. You can't look at me and tell how much effort I put into convincing my teachers that my originality was more important than my design being sellable. You have not seen what I've been through. So if you just want to call me a lazy, ungrateful person, go ahead, but you're wrong. I slaved away in art school for 3 years trying my hardest, and I tried to convince teachers that my work, even though it could be outside curriculum, was still sellable, marketable, something new, right? People will buy something new as long as it's awesome. So anyways, I dropped out, then I came back and failed, then I came back and dropped out again because I just wasn't feeling it. And whatever, you could call me a failure, but basically I just didn't see the point in continuing a college education on art. I felt like it wasn't benefiting me. I'm sorry. You know, I'm not an apathetic person. I do want to make progress and of course keep myself healthy and alive, but people don't always have the facilities to do that. For example, right now it's wintertime. I don't have the facilities to do that here. I'd be eating things from under logs and shit, which people have done. But so my goal is to get somewhere where, you know, I can be a farmer and be an independent person and have no chance of failure. So okay, so connected to the idea of looking out for each other and that causing no failure. Now, if someone fails to abide the empathic ways of human nature and say lies or steals, that is not something you have to excuse, and so they would be exempt from this thing. So when I say the chance of failure brought to zero by caring for each other, that means it's your job to make sure the people you are interacting with care for you, and if they don't, you remove yourself from harm's way and you go solo, and that is another chance for bringing the failure to zero that I'll talk about. If you were just alone, but you had the facility to farm, the answer to the question would then be relying on nature, the fruits of nature. The fruits of nature is the answer to 0% failure, because you don't have to pass to grow anything, food. It just grows from nowhere. So, you know, there you go. So I hope I've answered everyone's question in their mind. So your life, it will be very, very vibrant if you have 0% chance of failure. You can sleep in, you can eat, you can do whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want, providing that you feed yourself, which is not that hard. It's not that, and it's certainly not stressful. So, which is the big one? Difficulty and stress are two very different things. The chance of failure, the chance of death in the back of your mind is totally different than a bit of sweat off your brow knowing you're about to harvest your tomatoes. So you have to understand what stress truly is and how destructive it is to your lives. Good luck, people. Stay free.